Joe's life is in flames and it only gets hotter from here. Stay tuned for the You After Show.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
A daisy. OMG. This episode, Joe's life, our lives, I don't know. Can I speak for you? My life
you
was
can speak
just...
for me.
Okay, our
Changed.
lives were going crazy throughout this episode. Hello, all AfterBuzzers. Welcome to episode 9 of You. This episode is titled P.I. Joe. And clearly, it's for a reason. I am Taquaila Jackson. I'll be your revenge plot host for the evening. And I have my co-host, Miss Beautiful Adeze.
Hi, everybody.
She is going to be our plot twist predictor. And she's also going to give us a real-life stalker story later on in the special segment episode. So, Adeze, tell me your overall thoughts. Can you put them into words?
Oh, I'm going to have to try.
Thank you.
Wow. Love is who I told y'all she was from episode
Yeah,
in the beginning.
you're right.
I think we all knew, but we didn't know what this was going to develop into, but we knew that Love had some Joe in her.
Oh. I wasn't one. I was still on I was on land while y'all were already out in sea seeing her things.
I was ready
still
to
on
see
the
her
shore.
be a psycho killer. I was ready to see it. I didn't know how it was going to unfold itself, but wow, the way my girl just took life literally into her own hands. I don't want to celebrate a murderer, but dang.
I was gonna say I can't tell by your face.
You know how I do.
Can't. You can shimmy on that.
But
That's
it's
fine.
what we've really been waiting for with this.
You're
season.
right.
I mean,
one of them. If it loved somebody, we were all trying to predict who that person would be.
Yes.
And I think I'm blown away. I
I'm
really
definitely blown
was
away.
jaw dropped at the TV the whole time. I was like, no, really? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So before we get into the gist of things, I just want to let our viewers know, we'll first get into P.I. Joe. I have another segment topic called P.I. 40, because we see him get his private investigation skills on as well. Of course, we'll talk about Delilah being killed, and we'll go into just little tidbits of the episode as well. So let's start off. My poor homegirl, Delilah. I had love for you, girl. I was your champion. I knew you were going to make it into season 3 when there is a season 3 to come. I really wanted her and Ellie to have a bigger role throughout the continuation of however many seasons you will produce. But Delilah won't. Do you think Joe killed her?
I don't know, because I think the writers are purposely taking us through his memory on purpose. Like, we haven't seen this before. Usually when Joe kills somebody.
But he was drugged.
He was drugged, and he really doesn't know. And in his heart of hearts, though, he knows he would never do this to Delilah.
I would like to believe that, too.
He knows that. So it's like, I'm with him too. Like, I really don't think you would do this to Delilah.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know what happened, but for him to be this torn up about it, and for him to be this thoroughly confused, albeit he was on drugs, but as well, this thoroughly confused on how this happened. When I planned to release her, I left the door open for her. I was supposed to be out of here. I wanted her to go free. I never even intended for her to be in the cage. And now she's dead. But all these pieces are telling me that I killed her.
Right.
But I don't know. So I want to believe that he didn't do it.
I want to give him credit. Because he's like, well, now he has to become the detector. Like, he has to find out who killed Delilah, even if he did it. So when he said that, I was like, okay, but now I wanted him to already be in Mexico. I didn't want him to be, and I know we need Joe to still be in LA for the story to continue on. But again, I'm really heartbroken about Delilah being dead, and then what the outcome will be for Ellie. Like, what do you see her future being?
I don't know. I mean, we give her a lot of credit for being really smart and intuitive and independent, but she's still a child. And that's literally all she had.
Yeah.
And not like she has anybody else as model examples around her to even fall back on. I mean, look who else is around her.
Yeah.
So I feel like really, really bad. And the fact that she really knows her sister. So she knows that her sister would never leave her like that, never not text back. Like, she has that intuition. You always have that feeling, that intuition. So I think the most horrible for her outside of Delilah. So I don't know.
Well, we see Joe in his astonishment. That's part of the reason why I want to believe he didn't kill Delilah, because he's really angered, freaked out about finding her in her pool of blood when he arrives to release her, because that's what he was going to do. Him and Love are back on good communication. They're going to rekindle their relationship. So he wants to go ahead and release her. But then he goes and finds out she's dead. And while he's in there trying to figure out his own life, see what he can remember, he gets a visitor.
Yes.
This visitor pre-hand did a little stalking because she visited 40. They had a little one-night stand because of 40's high episodic moment. But this visitor, do you think, purposely set Joe up to kill or to be caught in the cage with Delilah? Or what do you think Candace's motives were?
I think Candace's motives in the beginning was to just protect, I guess, Love and 40 from Joe.
Right.
And then she spills the beans to Love, like, this is who this guy really is. And, I mean, unbeknownst to her, she just gets sent away.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for the info, but you got to get out of here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think she was going to set him up, but I believe that she knew her work wasn't done and she needed to maybe figure out a way to show the world really who he is. And so when she put the pieces together that he would be at the storage unit based on like the photo and all that other stuff, and seeing that in the background, wherever the storage name was in the background, I think she went there to just see what he was hiding, because he has to be hiding something. She knows who Joe is.
Yeah.
I didn't think that Candace would have didn't predict to see like what he did there.
Okay.
I think she walked in to go see what he was hiding and then saw him there and like, yo, let me lock him in there. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I told, this is who you are. Like, I see you now. And now when I'm going to show everybody who you are, I'm going to call the police, and show everybody.
She calls Love. Well, I thought that when she got to the storage that Joe would have already cleaned up Delilah's body and the blood in the whole storage. It would have just been the little, well, not even the cot. He would have had to get rid of that too, because there was blood on that as well. I just thought when she walked into the locker room or the storage room, everything was going to be clean. She was going to see his cage, of course, because that's there, but she wasn't going to see a dead Delilah.
I don't think so, because he's still flabbergasted that there's a dead Delilah. If he had purposely killed like Delilah, I think he would have cleaned it up.
No, I mean in the notion of not of again somebody happening to walk in or come in. It could have been so Candace. Distraught. It could have just been somebody else. Just wrong storage locker or whatever. Right. The manager coming in to make sure he was okay. I don't know. Right. I just thought it was going to be all clean and no one was going to see.
No, I think he's way too distraught to even think about that. He was literally sitting in her pool of blood like, I guess I did it.
Yeah, he was. Good thing Candace arrived with the pepper spray, though, because I feel like if she didn't have some type of weapon or something to protect herself, Joe would have killed her then for real. Yeah. Because he already knows she's out to endanger his life and to ruin it because of what happened to them in their relationship.
And he doesn't like her anyway, so it's not like it's any sweat off his back.
Right. And so I guess at that moment, we now have caged Joe. And while we're waiting for Love to arrive, because she texts Love the address and tells her to meet Joe there, we have caged Joe, who then starts to spill out all his confessions. Bless you. I felt like that was the most honest, vulnerable, and just like tired Joe that we've seen in seasons 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. He just finally let it all out. Maybe it was because of Love's friend who did that acupuncture. Thank you. And he just felt lighter after that and just wants to be free. Maybe it's because he's actually trying to change. I guess we'll still see.
I think it's because it's Delilah, and he had the intentions of letting her go.
Yeah.
Like, this was going to be the different situation. Delilah's my friend. I wasn't even planning on hurting her. I just got to keep her here so I can go there. I'm going to let her go. This is the easiest capture and release I'll ever experience. And it ends up in her bloodbath. After he promises her, literally nothing will happen to you. I feel like that is really effing him up. Like, that is really messing him up. Like, he literally planned for her to be okay, and it didn't happen that way. So I feel like on top of that, the fatigue of the life that he lives, no matter what path he takes, it still ends up in bloodshed. that on top of just like he can't figure out what happened.
Yeah.
Just let him just, you know what? Forget it.
I think you're right. You just brought two things to my mind. One, that he even did call Will, who's actually in Manila, hopefully, and tried to get some help from a friend. So I like that instance because they do kind of have the same mind. Even though Joe was trying to speak in metaphorically, Will was able to put it out plainly in his reality of what was going on and try to at least give him some.
Well, because he thought it was him at first. He was like, if it's not me, it has to be someone. Did Will come back?
Right, which was also good to try that. And I wanted Will to come back at some form, maybe later, but I did actually want to see him there. God bless you again. We also seen that he then Candace tells him murder always has a way of following you, regardless if he commits it or it's involved somehow, but it always has a way of following him. When Love finally shows up, how did you feel about her reaction?
I was sick to my stomach because it's just one of those things that because of the way the show is, you kind of don't want Joe to be caught.
Yeah, true.
Even though he's a bad person, and you know how that goes.
Right.
But at the same time, I was sick that Love saw him. I was sick that Love was sick. Like, this is before we know that Love is crazy. But, I was just like, oh, man. And the fact that we don't even know if he actually did kill her, but he's confessing.
Yeah.
And Candace is saying, whoa, look, okay, blood, body, he's here. He's on the ground. He's in the blood. What else do you need, Love? This is him. And it's just, in my mind, I'm thinking, but I know it's not him. It's somebody else, I was really sick for him. I really was. I felt for her. Yeah, that was tough.
It played out great for me because you already have this notion that Candace is crazy.
Yeah.
She's stalking Joe for a while. So while he had to move to LA, change his name, his location, and things of that nature. So I thought when she came in, when I didn't see her go crazy and Candace starts telling the story and look at him, I was like, yes, they're going to think Candace is crazy. And that Candace killed Delilah and locked Joe in just because of the vendetta that they believe to what Joe has told him. She's trying to wreak havoc on his life, which actually did happen. She started calling Candace crazy, and Candace was like, wait, no, I'm telling the truth. So I liked her reaction then. And before we go a little further, let's let the viewers know how they can tune in, because I'm sure they'll want to chat more with us.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning into the You After Show and making AfterBuzz the ESPN of TV talk. If you're on YouTube right now, tune in with us. Sign into the live chat. Let us know how you felt about this episode and what we're talking about. Like, comment, and subscribe and stay engaged with us. If you're on iTunes listening, give us 5 stars and let us know how great of a job that we're doing. We thank you every single week when you come in and you tune into our shows. With this show, we thank you every single time that you see our release of this episode, that you come in and you give us views and you give us engagement. We love you.
Yes, thank you for always. I like that one. It was so sweet, too. We want to know your thoughts always, because you give us different ways to think and different plot twists as well, which always the more the merrier on this type of crazy show. Let's go into transition a little bit. We'll come back to Candace because it's all going to tie in soon. But let's go to what I'll call PI 40.
Yes.
Because Candace gives him, after their one night stand, I guess she ends up reading the script and she's like, you get it, finally, read between the lines. Oh, I can't remember the fake name in the script is actually Joe. This is him. So 40 starts doing his own research and he makes a visit to New York City, or New York State, did it say, correctional facility offices. At that time, did you figure out who he was going to visit?
I already knew. I mean, at first when he was just like, well, Candace, I don't even know what you're talking about because you were fake. You came and you were Amy and, but when she said, don't be mad when it happens to your sister, I think that really got the gears moving. And I was not, we all know where he's going to go next.
Yeah, that's true.
He, under his 24-hour, but 18-hour trip under LSD, he put together the craziest puzzle piece without knowing that he did it.
Right.
And so if it makes sense that you did that, and then Candace is here telling you this is what happened, and then you're already kind of feeling away a little bit about Joe anyway, that's going to drive you to get some answers. I think at this point, at first I think he wanted to low key maybe see if Candace was wrong.
Yeah,
but he had the inkling that maybe she's not. Okay, so that's why he went all the way out there to see Dr. Nikki. And wow, that meeting didn't go how he thought it was.
That's what I was gonna say. Were you surprised at Dr. Nikki's reaction?
I was so shocked, and then it made sense to me because I've seen. Maybe it's on TV, but yeah, it's probably on TV. But I've seen characters where they're like, I might have been falsely accused, but I've done so much wrong in my life that I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be anyway. And I feel like Dr. Nikki, what he was saying, I'm not even like a good person. Like I didn't kill her, obviously, but he feels like this is where he's supposed to be.
Her. Yeah.
And he has done other things where he feels like in life in general, like, it all happened because I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
He found God, and this is his purpose to be here and live out his sentence. And maybe he just made peace with it. And this is like, he doesn't want to drudge up anything where there's even any hope of him getting out because some crazed person who's read the book thinks that he's innocent.
Yeah.
He's probably heard it a million times anyway. So he sent him on his way. I think he thought he was like a fan or something.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
So
I was a little surprised. Now, I understand that you've done wrong. You've done wrong, what did he say, to his wife, to his kids, different other girls in his life. I understand that. But you're in jail for murder. I don't think he's getting out ever. Maybe. No. We'll see. But you're in jail for murder. That doesn't equate to the same, I think, self-sentence that you want to give yourself for hurting or disrespecting your wife, your family, your career, or anything of that nature. So I was kind of shocked. I thought it was going to somehow click that even though he may be a fan, but this is someone that actually knows, someone that actually supports, just because of how much passion and emotion that 40 had. And it's the first time I think I've seen him clearly without assuming that he was on some type of drug.
Yeah.
But it was the time where he was just still pushing him away. No, he's found God. He didn't kill Delilah, but he's done other things. So like you said, this is where I should be. This is all of accumulation of things that have happened bad in my life. This is now my punishment for it. I didn't like that aspect. I really wanted him to somehow champion on 40, give him more information to somehow make Joe's web or life feel more suffocated, that he's finding out more about him. I was actually surprised about Dr. Nikki. What about when we go into, we'll circle back to Candace. And love now. Get towards the end of one more. I just figured out what I meant by that statement. When Officer Finch comes to the house to try to use his friendship with Delilah to get Ellie to talk, and then manipulates her into coming down to the courthouse, the jail, to make a statement, and she figures out, what's going on. Was it a good thing that she called 40, or did you expect her to maybe have called Joe instead? Or,
well, we know that she's smart, so she's gonna call 40 only because of the whole connection thing. Like, you got my sister out of jail. Can you get me out of jail? I think that's the only reason why she called 40. I don't think she trusts Joe that much at this point because her sister's missing. She thinks that Joe knows something that he's not telling her. So I would say Joe would probably be the second person, after just getting out of jail. I don't think that she trusts Joe to help her out in this situation. I know she knows something's up.
Yeah.
So
I didn't like the way Officer Finch, and good, as his character and as an officer, he did well, but I didn't like how he used his friendship to manipulate her to coming downtown with her. Great thing that she's smart enough to know, like she said, I've seen this before in a million different shows or whatever. But then even when she's leaving out with the Quinn family lawyer, he's like, oh, and by the way, I'm going to call the police or CPS to let them know that there's a unattended minor living by herself. That part got me scared for Ellie because I really like her character. And as we've always said, she's been like the Pablo from season 1. She's now here too. I still want to see her around. Even though Delilah is not in the picture, I still want to see her somehow be around. And I don't know what that looks like yet. But I just need her to still be there.
Yeah, in the beginning, you guys thought, she would be the Pablo of season 2. And that would entail her being Joe's sidekick, but I thought she would get in his way, and she did She did it, and she did.
Right.
She did because he ended up having to. Well, he thought he had to save. Well, he did save her. He did. He switched the drinks,
right,
and prevented her. Mm-hmm. But that, even though, like, you know,
Henderson,
that hindered his whole thing. Like, he wanted to go in there. I don't know. She did get in his way.
Well, no, I understand what
you know what I mean?
Because Pablo was younger, and so he was helpless, and he didn't know. He wasn't as smart and as intelligent as Ellie is in order to be able to navigate different scenarios and different situations she put herself in. So even though she kind of got in his way, again, it's that need for Joe to want to protect the younger people that are around him or somehow come in a relationship with, because no one protected him when he was younger. Yeah. So that drives it. So there is the comparison where you say she did, but she didn't. But she's a much more older, smarter, intelligent than Pablo was, and again, it's because of life and age. But
right, and like you said, I do like Ellie, and I wanted her to stick. I want her to stick around.
Definitely,
Delilah's dead. Ellie's not, so we don't know. She could be back.
Yeah, but we'll see. Hopefully, Joe will get down his list. You know, he went throughout the episode saying that, so Will's not a suspect, Officer Finch isn't a suspect, 40's not a suspect. So, I mean, it only leaves a few more people, and hopefully we'll get to that shortly. If not in this episode, next one. What about just going to the bombshell of the episode? And I'm going to say bye-bye Candace in that moment. Like, wow. For real this time, she's dead. Like, not coming back.
Yes. Nobody saw that coming.
I didn't.
Only saw it coming because of the camera angle.
Okay.
And she's walking behind her. Like, you can just tell something's about to happen. But I did not see that coming whatsoever.
I didn't either.
You knew she had it in her, but you didn't know this is when she's going to have it in her. You know? Because you knew something's crazy about love. We had to figure out what is crazy about love. She's a murderer.
But I like it, kind of. Yeah. So I like it because now Joe has his love, someone that completely can understand him, what he's always been seeking since back. Yeah. Maybe since Candace, actually. But I don't like it because she's a murderer now.
Yes.
And now it's like, how does this work? Are we going to have a murdering couple? How does this work? Are you going to try to X each other out at some point?
Yeah.
Because now you're both fighting for love, but it's not in the best for either of your lives to be healthy in any level.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the shock on Joe's face. And I feel like...
I think it was terror.
He was
at least
terrified. He was shocked. He was a little bit disgusted.
Yes.
Because I really sincerely think that Joe does not want to be a murderer. He probably does. I mean, he didn't show it so much, but it probably disgusts him that this is who he is.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would like to lead a normal life, but he also accepts that this is who he is. So I think it really bothered him to see that love, his normal, is not really his normal. Like, he can't live a normal life with someone who's exactly like him. So when his face was like, huh? Like, you killed Candace? Like, where's Candace? He was, like, so shocked that she did this.
Yeah.
And it shocked me that he was shocked that she did this, because I thought the same thing as you. Like, you found your pea in your pod. This is, you two are two peas in a pod. And he was not having it.
That's why, so when I was hoping... Like, okay, you get a minute for shock factor. You definitely can get a minute for the shock factor. But once that settles in, I was annoyed with Joe. I'm like, are you going to be the kettle or the pot here?
Right.
Which one do you want to be? You can be both at this point, because this is, again, it was frustrating. This is what you said you've wanted. This is how you want love, you need love, you receive love. And here she is.
And she did it for him.
Just like he tells everybody else, or in his mind, or his monologues. Exactly. I'm doing it for you, love. I'm doing it for us, Beck. Like, these are the things that he has said.
Yes.
She's handing you all of it, literally,
and saving
in the palm of her hand.
Yeah.
Exactly. And covering you. Like, I don't want to call her a ride or die, but she did all of the above.
Well, I think that's what she's doing.
It's a little creepy to think about it now. Yeah. Well, before we get to the closing of the after show, we'll have Adeze give us a real life stalker story during our special segment.
Yes. Can I cue my creepy music? Thank you. This is titled The Ex-Boyfriend from Hell. So her high school, she was a senior, and her high school boyfriend was a junior, and he was already controlling and judgmental and abusive. And she was moving into like a local university, and he went crazy, lost his mind, sent threatening messages about 200 a day, phone calls showing up during her classes, showed up at her house and broke into her car and sat in the back seat. And then she was out with her best friend, and he was there laying on the floor of the backseat of the car. And she bought a new car with new plates, and he broke into her dorm. So basically, he was popping up everywhere. So she went to college with her 2 roommates, and he found out where she was living and then broke into there too, and while she was in the shower. And then she told him to get out, and she came out with a knife. She had to call the cops, and she locked herself in the bathroom. And then she dated a new guy who was absolutely good to her, and she actually warned the new guy about the ex-boyfriend. And then the ex-boyfriend somehow found out where they were having a date and then jumped the new guy with 5 of his friends.
What?
Okay. And so she also ended up with her face smashed in, and because he called her a cheating whore. Even though they weren't together, she was still a cheating whore. And the ex-boyfriend attempted to break. She had to move it with her parents after this. So like this is where she felt safest. And her ex-boyfriend attempted to break into her parents' house on a Sunday, and while everybody was home, and her dad, who was ex-military, 6'5" and scary, put a gun in his mouth, and that was the last time that she saw him. Now she said he didn't kill her. He didn't kill him.
But that was enough to scare him away, finally.
He packed it up. So the
Thanks,
moral
Dad.
of the story is, let it go. When the relationship is over, let it go. And if you have a crazy ex, file a restraining order and maybe leave the country. Because obviously, no matter where she went, he was going to find her.
Oh, no. Wait, I want to back up to how do you convince 4 of your friends to come help me
5.
jump, or 5 of his friends to come help me beat up this other guy? Like, what is that story?
Guys know how to do that, though. Like, he took my girl. I'm not going to let him take my girl. He not even... And all guys need is the word space and opportunity. They're going to go ahead and do it.
No, I don't like that part. But thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad. And I like the way you said 6'5",
6'5",
tall,
and
military, scary. Yes, thanks, Dad. So I hope, and let's say also, I hope he's not out there transitioning now. He left her alone finally because that's what has had to happen.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's not another poor girl in his reigns.
Maybe that gun changed, and maybe he's a church-going, God-loving.
Yeah. And some of these stories have had commonalities where you're hiding in the backseat of the car or in the house somewhere and waiting for the woman to get in the shower.
Scary.
And 2 things. Like, one, we need to help, like a real stalker hotline or something, because these stories throughout this season have had me literally scared to
Shaking.
date. Like, I don't want to do it no more. And then secondly, if anybody in the comments want to let us know, and if you're comfortable sharing, I wonder if it's been flipped, how a woman has stalked a dude. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but we might have to find some of those stories for next episode or something to figure that out. Yeah. As always, thank you, Adaze, for that really scary real life stalker story. Before we conclude the episode, do you have any predictions you want to give? This is about to be a bombshell. We're about to go into the last episode of the You season 2. What do you think the moments are going to be that's just going to like bam, 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 pop out?
I think we're just going to find out, I think love is going to reveal everything. We're going to have to find out what happened to Delilah. We're going to have to find out who love now. This is a new love, so we have to find out who she really is and what everything that comes with her. So I don't have any, stark predictions. But I think we're gonna have a lot of final unfolding.
I feel like, and what you just said it too puts a great point in it. We're gonna find what love is between Love and Joe. Yeah, hopefully we get Love and her mom, and then young Joe and his mom. We get all of that kind of pulled together, and we'll see how many different killers we might even have on this show. It's no longer Joe alone. So who is next? Or what's going to happen? But as always, we thank you for tuning in to the You After Show. Again, I am Taquaila Jackson. You can follow me at Taquaila_I am Adaze.
And I'm Adaze. You can follow me on Instagram at 1Adaze, 1ADAEZE.
Thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you on episode 10.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.